uh, David Corenswet he had a monitor in his trailer. And he would also sit at the Video Village right off the set on days when he wasn't even working. He
Wow.
came, he came by to see me twice during filming, and I hadn't interacted with him. I never interact with him in the film, but he came by twice to make a point to come by and say how much he enjoyed my work and nice to meet me and a pleasure working with me and pointing out little things in a scene is like that little moment right there. I mean, really the kind of things that touch an actor's heart. Everything's good. I appreciate you seeing me.
Absolutely. Where in the world are you? I see there's a blue screen. I mean, it could be any of.
Yeah, it's LA. I'm sorry, it's covering up a bunch of my workout stuff in the in the apartment. So
I didn't know.
the
Maybe you're
viewers
like
have to deal with
auditioning or filming or something. I was like, hey, it's got that Superman blue in the back. So,
it. That's right. Yeah. Well, I have an audition a little later today, so I just already had it set up.
perfect. Wow. I saw the movie as most of the world has. First of all, are you just overwhelmed with the reaction it's gotten and or you're
Oh yeah.
getting recognized too? Because your face pops up a lot. Whenever you see Lex Luthor, you're right there by the side.
Oh well, thanks. I love the reception it's getting. Getting some online notices, but so far walking around in the world, I haven't had too many people that notice. I think the glasses and the bigger mustache probably helps that.
Tell me about the mustache. Is this your regular look that you rock, or was this something for the movie? I want to know about your look because you have a very distinct look, so that's why it's not hard to spot you in the film.
Oh, thanks. Not really. I normally don't have any facial hair. I
Oh
only
wow.
have what I have now because James thought I should keep something. But it's something that it's based on a very distinct look in the comics that he's very much, he kind of looks like a kind of incel-y little, he's a genius, but
Yes.
he's resentful and he's kind of a creep and all these other things. And it's based on the look from the comics, though. And we grew it out like that, and I like the result.
So James inspired you to keep it, yeah?
Yeah, so far it's on borrowed time, I think, but
I mean, did you get used to it with filming and all that too? Like, hey,
oh yeah.
maybe.
I thought about it. I thought about it. I was looking a little bit like a younger Sam Elliott for a little while, but
Nice
but
one.
I don't mind it too much. I just
There
need
you go.
to book other work so that it can sometimes get in the way of the way people view you. But I like the mustache.
Yeah, no, it's definitely stands out. It's a unique. It's like a thing. Sometimes actors have like a thing, the distinctive
Oh
thing,
yeah.
and it suddenly became yours. Just
Well,
by
thank you.
it's
Thank you. I
fantastic.
appreciate it.
When you look back, I mean, when did you guys film this? It's been a while since production wrapped, or
I wrapped about a year ago this time. They still
uh-huh.
had some more stuff to do. I think they wrapped it the end of July or maybe the beginning of August,
Mm,
shooting some of that Jaranpur stuff with the tanks and everything. I think they
yeah.
had last bit of stuff to do, but we shot the bulk of my stuff, like in Luther Corps, we shot most of that in May of last year.
Uh-huh.
And then I came home and went back when they were shooting exteriors in Cleveland for that was like in the end of June or beginning of July, and we had that's where I got to meet all the rest of the cast that wasn't in Luther Corps because we were all in Cleveland. It was fantastic.
I was just gonna ask you, where was Luther Corp located? So it was in
Yeah.
Cleveland.
Well, the office that you
Yeah.
see there, the set for it is in Atlanta. Uh,
Uh-huh.
but a lot of the architecture in Cleveland, they really liked for the inspiration for Metropolis. So we used a lot of Cleveland. They used a little bit of
Interesting.
Cincinnati, and some other inspirations. But the creators of Superman, Schuster, and Siegel, they're from Cleveland, and so I think some of their ideas
Yes.
of Metropolis come from Cleveland.
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah, I was trying to pinpoint some cities. I'm like, is that Philadelphia maybe at some
Oh,
points? Like,
sure. Yeah, it's mostly Cleveland, but it's built up, I mean, because it's got to be a bigger city than Cleveland is, and they
yes.
enhanced it with some of the little bit of the more fantastical and more, developed as far as the urban environment developed into more skyscrapers and things like that. I think it looks great though in the movie.
Oh, it does. So the
Yeah.
Luther Corp set that you're basically on, how big was it? And was this like an actual like office sort of setting, or it just appears like it too? Like I'm curious to actually the set itself, how big it was, and because you guys are there
Huge.
the whole time.
It was an enormous office set that they built from scratch.
Uh-huh.
It's you kind of get a sense a little bit of it in the movie, but it's probably a good 25 or 30 yards across, and then
Oh,
and it's
wow.
got some depth to it. And I don't know if it was to help the actors or for other reasons, but it was also built up. It's inside this big soundstage, but
Uh-huh.
built up 2 or 3 stories above the ground. So
Uh-huh.
when you're in the office, you feel like you're high up. And then they have this big scrim that goes around with the cityscape, and they change that. That subtly changes throughout the shooting, daytime, nighttime, time of day, and then they have this sun effect with lighting that the where the sun is in the sky at any particular scene. It was
Wow.
amazing. It's an amazing
That's
set.
pretty intricate because I was wondering, like those windows, because the windows are such a big part of that space too,
Oh
overlooking
yeah.
it. I'm like, I wonder if you guys had any windows there actually or anything like that.
Oh yeah, there are real windows there that get smashed when Superman and Mr. Terrific fly in the end.
Yeah.
It was that Beth Mickle who does the set design, who does the art direction. They those and all the people who work on that, they're amazing. They're like the best people in the business, and we
Yeah.
completely felt like we were, doing an Aaron Sorkin kind of West Wing type movie most of the time we were in there because it was so realistic.
Yes. Oh, that's amazing. That's cool to know sort of these back behind the scenes details of like what
Oh
did
yeah.
you guys actually see? Because we see as an audience, a lot, but sometimes you're just in a green screen room, with like a green
Oh yeah.
walls, but this seemed like really made you guys feel like you were part of the landscape there.
Oh, it definitely did. They when you walk up to the edge of the window there and look down, it's a long drop. So
Wow.
they really gave the sensation of it. I don't know if they did that on purpose or if it's
Yeah.
just sort of something for the lighting or who knows, but they really put you in right in the middle of it. You feel it.
That's pretty awesome. You spend a lot of time with Nicholas, it seems like, because you guys are pretty much almost in every scene you see him, you're right there, too.
God,
Did
yeah.
you guys get to know each other well, sort of, in between breaks and maybe offset and whatnot, because you guys were sort
Yeah.
of connected throughout the movie.
We got to know each other a little bit, more to come, I hope. But
Yeah.
he's such a sweet guy, and even going into it, it's a little intimidating because I look at Nicholas Hoult as one of the top actors walking around on the planet,
Yeah.
and you saw that in the movie, and you've seen it in some of his other work well, all of his other work, that he's just amazingly fantastic, and sort of between take to take, you can see he's always working. He's like, oh, you can see the kind of machinery. I don't know what he's saying exactly in his head, but
Uh-huh.
you can see it's turning like, how can he make this better? How can he make this different? He's always looking for that little 1% more. And he's amazing. And he's, like I say, he's the sweetest guy. So nice, so generous of his personality and his time. And just, one of those, you love to hear that, right? You hate it when your
Yes.
idols turn out to be jerks, and
Right.
you love it when you're like, oh, he's really that nice.
That's amazing. That's great to hear. He plays a great villain too, so
Yes,
you
he
can
does.
switch it up.
It's always the nicest people that play the best villains,
You're
though.
right.
You know?
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. Through my experience too, some of like one of my favorite people to talk to is Robert England, and he's like Freddy
Oh yeah.
Krueger. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
the nicest guy ever.
I've heard that. I've never met him, but I've heard that he's
I mean, just
incredibly
a
nice.
amazing individual, one of the legitimately nicest people I've ever met. And it's like, I can't believe this is Freddy Krueger, such a smart individual too. Very, you got very various different interests you wouldn't ever imagine. So it's one of my favorite people to talk to. I'm like, wow. So it just seems to be the thing. It's like, I think great
Yeah.
people make, actually great bad guys on screen.
I think, yeah, being as sensitive as you probably are to be a very nice person, you probably
Yeah.
are hyper aware of the things that make somebody mean.
Yep.
Got to be kind to be cruel.
Exactly. I mean, we see the kindness of Superman here and David Corenswet. He seems, from what the interviews I've seen and everything, this guy seems to be a blast to be around. I know you shared some scenes here with him too. Um,
He's
towards
fantastic also. This
isn't
is,
he cool as or what? I mean, he just seems like a
yes.
really awesome guy.
Well, I should preface it by saying, that James, the director, has he kind of has like an asshole filter. He checks in on people and what their reputation is with other directors and other people they've worked with, mutual acquaintances. He does not tolerate, the divas. He does not tolerate the jerks.
Hmm.
Uh, and you kind of check in on it, and he finds people when you're on a James Gunn set. Everybody is so nice, so kind, so sweet. uh, David Corenswet he had a monitor in his trailer. And he would also sit at the Video Village right off the set on days when he wasn't even working. He
Wow.
came, he came by to see me twice during filming, and I hadn't interacted with him. I never interact with him in the film, but he came by twice to make a point to come by and say how much he enjoyed my work and nice to meet me and a pleasure working with me and pointing out little things in a scene is like that little moment right there. I mean, really the kind
Wow.
of things that touch an actor's heart. And he made it a point. He went out of his way to do that. I mean, most number ones on the call sheet, you don't see them except for when they are working.
Yeah.
And just a super, super guy. I mean, they found the right Superman for this.
Yeah, it's like the quarterback of the team coming around to the backups and all the whole roster, and
Oh
just
yeah,
checking in on them and observing their work. That's really notable. It says about his character, but also as a performer too.
yeah.
For him to be so into it and pay attention to everyone else.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. It shows you the kind of basic that the kindness goes pretty deep in him, and I like maybe all the way down.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I think kindness is the most important quality that a human can have,
Yep.
and when I see that in people, it warms my heart.
It's great because it seeps up. The story sort of seeps up from the actors into the
Yeah.
story itself. It totally seems like it.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's part of the when I saw the movie, I didn't see the movie until the premiere, and when I
Really?
saw it, I was sort of swept away in the magic of it.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I think so much of that, who these actors are, who James is, who everybody involved in this, that kind of basic decency and kindness and caring, I think it kind of leaks through the screen into the audience, and I think you just kind of get infected in the best way by that.
Yeah.
It comes through.
You know, you obviously have a relationship with James. You've worked on his previous films, and it's the thing about James is if you're in his circle, he keeps you around. Like there's so many people that worked on
Uh,
Guardians that had little cameos or parts here or even voiced the robots in a sense. Like he keeps his sort of family, working family around and includes them in other things too that he does. It's pretty wonderful. How did you get into
yeah.
this James Gunn family and your relationship with him? What does it sort of extend like and is? Because it seems like you guys are pretty tight knit and there's something special there because you've been in so many of his projects.
Oh, thanks. I've known James now for I was just looking through some pictures, and
Uh-huh.
we met each other 30 years ago.
Wow.
I worked on I auditioned for him and another gentleman, and worked with him very closely on Tromeo and Juliet from Troma Studios.
Yes.
And we were filming it this time in July 1995
That's
in New York, all over Hell's Kitchen and Queens and, the Lower East Side and Alphabet City. Uh, and we became kind of friends at the time we were shooting. We had a lot of common interests. I have a lot of friends from that cast. It's the most friends I have from anything I've ever worked on.
amazing.
Uh, but it was really like the following year when, uh, to me, very oddly, the film went to Cannes to not to be in competition, but at the market. But they were showing it a lot, and I thought this is probably my one chance in my life that I'm ever going to get to go to the Cannes Film Festival. And so I
Hmm.
went and helped promote the film, and James was there. So I spent 2 weeks with him and some of the other, and Tiffany Shepis and Lloyd Kaufman, like promoting the film and hanging out and trying to score tickets to the different studio, parties at night because we were all broke. And it was like we could get some food at those parties and
You
kind of
guys
thing.
were indie guys. That's where James came
Yes.
up, like
Oh
100%
yeah.
indie.
We were starving and we're just like trying to get, a little bit of get a little espresso and a lot of cigarettes at the time and just try and get some tickets so we could eat that night. And through all that, we bonded and became friends and came up with a bunch of sketches for the Trauma TV show that they had at the time, Tromaville Cafe. Uh,
Mm.
and we just sort of really hit it off and became friends. And we continued to work together on a number of things over the years. But it's not like, most of these friends like me, they don't come from like, his school background or his neighborhood or something like that. When they say, people say he casts his friends, it's not like that. We are all people that he's worked with and likes their
Yes.
work, in addition to passing that asshole test, and uh, when you have an environment just like Superman, where not only different actors that you have experience with, but the production designer and the costume designer and the cinematographer, so many people who know you and your work and you know them, that it takes so much of the effort out of making a very high pressure project because
Hmm.
I know what am going to get. I can challenge them to go even better, but I know I'm going to have at least a certain minimum standard. And I think that's when you're dealing with an enormous $225 million project, that's, you need every little bit of assistance you can get. And that's where all of us come from. And I'm happy to be part of this troop. It's the joy of my life.
Yeah, and it just tells you also his loyalty to the people he came up with too. In so many
Yeah.
ways that speaks a lot that of him, that he doesn't forget the people who sort of rose with him or were in his earlier projects when he was just an indie guy that not many people
Yeah.
knew.
That's absolutely true. Loyalty is one of his best qualities. And yeah, he doesn't forget about us because we're somebody who did a small film in the 90s.
Hmm.
If you resonated with him then, he's not looking to be Mr. Big Shot. It's not all, the usual suspects you would see in a Hollywood film. He's loyal. The people that he cares about, he clutches to his heart. And
Hmm.
and I'm blessed to be part of that. And it's that for me, it's also a dream come true because one of the things we talked about back in those Cannes days is he was asking me, what would I like to ultimately do? And this is thinking as a New York theater actor, I was like, it's like, I told him my ideal would be to have a group of people that have some writers in there, some directors and some actors, and some people who know about cameras and stuff to like, let's write some stuff for ourselves. Let's generate our own things and we'll take turns like acting in each other's projects and directing and this and that and have this kind of a troop and kind of, mutual rising, all rise up together. Uh and that's kind of happened. It's
Yeah.
not happening in New York on these little stages, where laundromats turned into stages, but it's happening. It's happening in the biggest way in the world. And that's literally a dream come true for me that he's making happen.
It's amazing when you mention that because you get perspective coming up that way, in a sense, how you and James sort of came up, Stephen, learning, like working, shooting in a laundromat, all these sort of things
Oh, yeah.
give you perspective and harden you. So when you get to this major, biggest movie out there possible, with the biggest budget and eyes on it, you can reflect on those days and appreciate all this so much more because you understand what it's like to sort of having to break through and create. And you built yourself an excellent career. You've been in so many projects and done this for so long, Stephen. I mean, you talk about 1995, and we're talking about decades of being in this industry where so many actors can't say that. They just flame out or just can't handle that. When you look back at those times, like, what do you sort of think about the lessons that you learned that brought you to the place you are right now?
Uh, I never thought I would have to learn this much patience, I'll tell you,
Yeah, that's a
and
part of it.
perseverance. Yeah, it really, for me, it's a long, slow journey. I was never somebody who got off the bus here in LA and was sort of struck by lightning and thrust into the big time.
Mhm.
Uh, for me, it was persistence and improvement, and always be looking to improve. And if you really care about this, you won't give up, even when nobody is biting. When nobody is seemingly interested. Work in some, keep a side job so that you can support what you love. If
Yeah.
there's a day that comes when you don't love it, when you don't feel the calling of it, walk away, because you're doing it a disservice. For me, it was persistence, improvement, always be looking for the holes in your game. You're never there. You always should be striving for it. That's for
Mhm.
me, that's the last 30 years.
It's such a lesson to so many actors out there, who every actor's gone through those times of, you contemplate, am I doing this? Am I the right one to do this? Should I quit or not? And it's, like I said, there's so many difficult times where you're struggling potentially for years and years, making this work, but you're sort of a testament to keep this journey rolling, because
Thank
I
you.
feel like if you're long enough in the game, eventually it's going to pay off in some way. I think the only way to really take you out of it is by leaving it, right?
Yeah, that's the only thing. The power you have over it is only the power to quit,
Yeah.
to destroy it. So you can say, I chose to not do it, rather than the industry chose to not have me.
Hmm.
But I read a long time ago, I used to read a lot of actor biographies, and I read Jack Nicholson's biography. He talks about going to, 10,000 auditions before he booked something worthwhile.
Wow.
He said you have to be so good, you have to get so good and flawless that you are undeniable, that the casting director and the producer and director can't live with themselves if they don't hire you for it. And there's another book that's called Talent is Overrated, which is sort of a Bible for me, which is like, whether or not talent actually exists, who it's they don't try to address. But they talk about, it's not just 10,000 hours, it's 100,000 hours. It's constantly looking for every little thing, and practice, practice, practice. It's everything. It's learning those lessons and becoming, I think, I can't say that I'm undeniable, but striving toward that goal of being undeniable.
That's well said. And you know what? I've interviewed dozens and dozens of directors and all sorts of industry creatives, and I always sort of ask like a director or a producer, like, what do you look for in an actor? Like, what's the thing? And Stephen, the most common answer is always someone I can work with for weeks and months on a set that helps the morale of the set.
Yeah,
The talent, you can have the most talented person, but if they're hard to work with, or like you mentioned, a diva attitude, or sort of poison the waters for others, they don't want that. They want the best person who's going to help out in those tough days where, it's cold, it's middle of the night, and you're game for it. And
that's
that's been
right.
always the same. And it really reflects this movie, Superman, and sort of James's working environment, this story that I always hear about, working with good people who really appreciate it and will enhance the crew and all the other people there, and obviously have talent because I'm doing this for a reason, but that has been the number one thing I always hear.
Oh, absolutely. When you, especially on a movie project or a television show, imagine television where you could go on for years, but just even on a movie set, a
Yeah.
movie that's going to be theatrically released, you're inviting that person into your life for 16 hours a day while you're on set for 4 or 5 months. And then when you're dealing with promotion and everything like that, you're inviting them for a year. When you talk about the legacy of a big tentpole film, whether it's a hit or not, it's still, this is a bond. This people are going to be in your life for years.
Yes.
And at least, at the very least, for the months on set, 16 hours a day, trying to get out of them what you want to get out of them. And sometimes they're not getting there. And what is that tension like? You want the very best people that you can have, and that you can trust, and that have goodwill to you and you to them. And that goes a long way. Sometimes I've seen directors will take somebody with maybe, let's say 5 or 10% less talent, because they
Mhm.
know that they can work with them, because they know that the result they're going to have on the screen is what they want, and not what somebody else or something else decides.
100%. So well said. And as I wrap here with you, what sort of things do you? I always feel like an actor, a real actor, has to have a rich life outside of the industry. Because sometimes when actors say like, "Oh, I just care about acting. Acting is my life," and it's like, no, you need to be a real human, have real hobbies and experiences to bring that to your work too. What are your sort of getaways, Stephen, that you enjoy doing, whether hobbies or interests, to sort of get you away from maybe the acting world in a sense, or a little bit of different side of it that you just enjoy in your personal life?
Well, I mean, I'm lucky and unlucky in the way that I have never really hit the jackpot as an actor. So I've
Mhm.
always had to have a job on the side. I've
Yes.
worked in restaurants since I was 15 years old, and still do. And then for hobbies, I go out for long walks. I do a lot of reading. I read a lot
Oh,
of, especially ancient history and philosophy, and I read a lot about things I don't understand, like quantum mechanics and astrophysics. I spend a lot of time watching the smartest people I can find talk about and or give classes about those subjects. I have an endlessly curious mind. My James used to call me Steviepedia because I kind of retain anything that I don't need, anything that all this useless information. So I'm just constantly in search of things that make my my inner life a better place and more interesting.
that's well said, and that brings a wealth of knowledge, and all the quantum
Yeah.
stuff. It sort of resonates with this film too, knowing
Yes, it
the
does.
outer planets and all that. So it's
Oh
all
yeah.
on brand, Stephen.
Oh yeah. You wouldn't believe when you get into especially physicists how wacky they are, and they don't seem to have anybody in their life that says, can you maybe do something with your hair, or why are you dressing like that, or maybe get your teeth fixed, because all they care is about science. But when it came time to create Sydney, it
Yeah,
it I wasn't afraid of it being too much because I see the real physicists out there. It's
yeah.
amazing.
Outstanding. You did a great job. You definitely stood
Thank
out.
you.
You made your mark in the film, and it shows hard work pays off, and being a good person. I think that resonates through the set and
Thank you.
everyone else. So, um, that's really awesome,
Thank
Stephen.
you so
So
much.
happy
You're
to
very
see
kind.
you. So happy
Nice
to
to
see
see
you do
you.
well, and let's do this again. I know there's going to be a lot
Absolutely.
more things coming up for you.
More to come. Stay tuned.
Absolutely. Thanks for taking the time. Really appreciate it. Let's do this again.
Thank you, Jim. Take
Thank
care.
you. Bye bye, Stephen.
Bye.